abatumirwa batatu harimo za kubavuga Kinyarwanda ndetse n'abandi bakobwa babiri baza kuba batuganiriza ni kubyerekeranye no kudaheza cyane cyane abana b'abakobwa bafite ubumuga. Turaza kwiganiraho mu kanya aho nza kubabwira n'abatumirwa. Giye kuyobora ikiganiro nitwa Gakuba Felix Abdul Jabbar. Uyu munsi rero turi kumwe n'abatumirwa batandukanye, ariko reka mfate umwanya mbanze n'abasobanure n'abumva ururimi rw'icyongereza. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you. Normally this is the time for HIRYA no HINO. It's a show that is actually in Kenya, Rwanda, discussing about various spheres of life in Kenya, Rwanda, basically. But today it's a special program as we are hosting three ladies. We'll be discussing about the inclusion of people with a disability, especially the girls, the Yes We Can campaign, which is starting here in Rwanda. We have two guests from, one is from Malawi and the other one is from Zimbabwe. And of course, we also have one from Rwanda. So we'll be discussing about the inclusion of people with disability, basically the girls, with the Yes campaign, which is starting here in Rwanda. My name is Gakuba Felix Abdul Jabbar, who will be conducting the show. Allow me to take this opportunity to introduce to you the guests we have today. We have Zena Ziada Iragena, the volunteer guide from Rwanda. Feel welcome to Isango Style TV. Yes, Zena is a volunteer guide here in Rwanda. As I said earlier before, we also have two guests from Malawi and Zimbabwe respectively. And we have Fiela Gizai, she's a participant from Malawi. Please feel welcome.
Thank you.
We also have Tavasi Marima, she's also a participant. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. First of all, how do you see Rwanda? Is it your first time to come here in Rwanda?
Yes, for me it's my first time, and I really appreciate it's been such a surreal moment, and getting to see Rwanda, having known it to be a land of 1,000 hills, and now getting to experience it, it's been pretty good.
Before we kick off with the show, what exactly has caught your eyes? What have you liked most?
Yeah, it's the 1,000 hills, to be first, and the kindness and the warmth that the Rwandese have. So it's been such
so welcoming, right?
Sorry?
They are so welcoming.
Yeah, they are really welcoming, very warm.
Yeah, okay. Fiel, tell me, what is your experience? What have you learned in Rwanda?
Thank you. Being in Rwanda, it has been such good experience that I've been experiencing the weather. In Nyaruguru, I had a chance to go in Nyaruguru, and the kindness and the quietness, the calmness of the people.
Yeah, is all
I can say. It's really beautiful.
Thank you very much. Dutangira na Ziada Iragena volunteer. Akaba ari mu volunteer cyangwa se mukorera ubushake muri Association de Guide Rwanda. Tubwire muri rusange kuri ubu bikorwa by'abagide muri mu cyumweru cya Yes We Can, ariko by'umwihariko mu Rwanda ibikorwa mufite bihagaze gute?
Murakoze. Wenda natangira mvuga umuryango w'abagide.
Umuryango w'abagide.
Yego, umuryango w'abagide ni umuryango wita ku burere n'uburezi bw'umwana w'umukobwa n'iterambere ry'umugore ukiri mutoya. Akaba ari umuryango ufite icyicaro igikondo, ariko tukaba dukorera mu turere twose 30 tw'igihugu. Hanyuma twakira abana b'abakobwa n'abadamu kuva ku myaka 5 kugeza ku myaka iyo ari yose umuntu yazamara ku isi. Ibikorwa byacu rero muri iki cyumweru turi gutangiza ubukangurambaga bufite insanganyamatsiko y'ubudaheza ku bantu bafite ubumuga. Akaba ari icyumweru kitangirana n'uyu munsi kugeza kwa 5. Ibikorwa dufite harimo ibyo kuza kumenyekanisha nyine ubwo bukangurambaga nk'ibyo turi gukora uyu munsi, harimo kuzasura abana bo mu kigo cya Centre Ubumwe mu karere ka Rubavu, harimo kuzagenda tuganira n'abandi bana b'abakobwa ndetse n'abadamu kugira ngo bamenye ko bakwiriye kugira uruhare muri ubwo budaheza, hanyuma wenda buri wese atangire gutera intambwe ntoya yo kugira ngo tugere ku byo twifuza. Hanyuma muri make campaign yitwa Yes Girls Can campaign, insanganyamatsiko iri mu Cyongereza ni Yes Girls Can Thrive for Disability Inclusion.
Yes.
Murakoze.
Harakoze cyane rero kudusobanura muri rusange. Fiela, tell us, in your country, how do you conduct these activities? How do people in Malawi back home, how do they handle such activities? What role do people with disabilities have in various spheres of life in Malawi? Are they marginalized? Do you still have a long way to go to make people, the population, the Malawi population, to understand that the people with disabilities can also participate to the growth of the country, development of the country in particular?
All right, thank you. On that, I can say that as a Malawi back home, we're still fighting on that for the person with disability to have equal opportunities when it comes to different laws in government, society, even at schools. Even though like now there are some changes where we can see that persons with disability are having different position in government, of which at first it was not easy for someone like that to participate. But also, like for the schools in primaries, even government, they have those steps that persons with disability with their wheelchair, they can able to enter in the class, which shows that as the Malawi, we are having some improvement on that.
Specifically, what are the strategies that the government has set forth or envisaged to eliminate this kind of culture, because it is also related to the traditions, various traditions in Africa, whereby you find people with disabilities or young girls are marginalized. What are the specific programs or strategies that the government of Malawi has set to combat the marginalization of people with disabilities?
All right, thank you. On that, as a government of Malawi, it is making sure that everyone is treated as equal. Because when we look at persons with disability, there are also people like us. So they have all that capable thing of doing things that a person like me, I can do. So when it comes for the position, that's why they also encourage those to be in that position. Yeah.
Marima, tell me, back home in Zimbabwe, I'm sure that there are certain programs for the inclusion of people with disabilities, but in Africa in general, especially sub-Saharan African countries, it's still a long way to go, whereby such programs are hindered by the traditions. How is the case, how is the situation back home in Zimbabwe?
All right, thanks. In Zimbabwe, the government actually introduced what they call the quota system, where they ensure that everyone is represented. So when you look at parliamentary level, there are even people that are experiencing disability, but because the aim is to have them included because they matter, the quota system has allowed for the persons living with disability to be represented even at parliamentary level. Even when you look at it from a regional level, with the SADC region, at parliamentary level, even when it comes to gender equality and parity, there has been measures that have been taken by the SADC gender unit to ensure that women and girls are also represented in key decision-making positions. This can be to do with in the corporate sector or in the educational sector and even at government level.
Zena, tugarutse gatoya mu Rwanda, urugendo rwanyu mu kurwanya umuco wo kudaheza abana b'abakobwa bafite ubumuga, iyo murebye mubona bigeze hehe? Ese mu cyaro bimeze bite? Kuko ahanini ni ibigendana n'imyumvire ishingiye ku muco. Ese mu Rwanda mwe mubona intambwe mumaze gutera igeze hehe?
Murakoze. Mu by'ukuri mu Rwanda hari ibyo leta yashyizemo imbaraga cyane, nko kuba uyu munsi dufite abantu bo mu nzego bahagarariye abafite ubumuga kugira ngo ibibazo n'ibyifuzo byabo nabyo bizajye byitabwaho. Ariko nanone haracyari urugendo runini, ariyo mpamvu dufite buno bukangurambaga, kubera ko usanga hari gahunda nyinshi leta ishyiraho ariko ugasanga imbogamizi ziracyari ku babyeyi, ku bavandimwe, ku bantu duturanye, nibo bakomeza gushyiraho uko guheza no kwita abana amazina adakwiriye ndetse no kumva ko badashoboye. Akaba ariyo mpamvu muri iki cyumweru ibikorwa byacu bizibanda ku kubwira abana b'abakobwa muri rusange ko imbaraga zacu zikenewe kugira ngo ubudaheza ku bantu bafite ubumuga bushire. Ni ukuvuga tubeho twese, buri wese yumva ko ndi umuntu, mbere y'uko ubona umuntu ukahita ureba ko wenda afite ubumuga, ahubwo ubanze kumubona nyine nk'umuntu nkawe, nk'umuntu ufite uburenganzira, nk'umuntu ufite ibitekerezo ndetse n'ubwenge n'ubumenyi bigiye bitandukanye.
Yes, I will go to Zen. I will go to HIRYA. Specifically this week is you'll be focusing about Yes Girl Can campaign here in Rwanda. What are you mainly going to focus on to share the experience with the Rwandans? I'm saying you're here for the girls, Yes Girls Can campaign. What experiences are you going to share with the Rwandans, to mobilize, sensitize the girls here, to show them they are capable, they can be involved in various government activities, they can have government positions. Given the experience you have back home, what are you going mainly to focus on during this campaign?
All right, thank you. During this campaign, we will be advocating for to call up for action for people who are in power, the policymaker, so that these people who live with a disability, they should be also given the chances that there are people, same people like us, they can do things in a good way, maybe more than us. So we need those factors that are affecting them, that people who are in power, they should take action on that. Because when we go for the primary sector, primary schools, we have like children living with disabilities where they are facing so many problems, like in terms of education, when it comes for like societies. So we need to advocate for that they should take action in helping these.
How do you do the advocacy back in Malawi? Because it must be strong for people to understand surely that they should eliminate such kind of mindset to include the people with disabilities in the daily life, day-to-day life, various activities that lead to the development of the country. So how do you do it in Malawi? There must be certain strategies that the Girls Guide Association back in Malawi has set forth to make the Malawi population understand why they should not marginalize girls or any other person with disability? What are the specific strategies that have you set forth for the advocacy of this campaign?
All right, thank you. As we know that on our own as a girl guide, like for example, like on our own as Malay Girl Guide Association, we cannot make it. We need some other partnership. So during this time, we call the partnership from different organizations and even the government to take part on this, because it requires to unite for us to speak out so that people out there, they should understand what we're trying to say and what we're trying to advocate.
Marima, tell me, in Zimbabwe, do you face the challenges related to the culture? And if yes, how do you overcome these challenges?
Yes, I remember growing up, there were stories and tales that people around the community or as children, people would talk about to sort of stigmatize people that are living with disability. So when it's, for example, when a person living with disability enters a room, it's very sad to understand that people see the disability first. They do not see the power that they have and the influence that they can make. So even back home in Zimbabwe, we've been made to understand that you must see the person and not the disability. So even from a young age, the children are made to grow up knowing that though we are different, we celebrate the differences, but we all deserve equal opportunities because we all have the power to drive change.
I don't know whether it is in the same category, but you find that especially people with albinos, these are the people who are, you know, even families, sometimes they are ashamed of, you know, keeping these kids in their family or involve them in various activities, keep them away. Is it a case back home in Zimbabwe? Do you have such cases whereby the albinos, you know, they are totally stigmatized? Do you have them?
Yes, we do have cases like that. And society, you get to find out that society sometimes pushes that narrative. But over the years, because the world is becoming more inclusive, we have organizations, even in my country, the albinism community, that have been founded that help support people living with albinism. And through that, they do not only empower them and educate them, but they also equip them with skills that they can be able to stand out in the community. And you get to see that they all have the equal talent and they deserve the equal opportunities that we even have. And there's an albinism talent show that is also hosted in Zimbabwe, where recently there's a lady called Candace. She is the top model for 2022. Wow. So you get to see that they also deserve the same opportunities and can even do better than everyone else.
And that brings me to an idea that I'm going to ask Zena. Hano mu Rwanda abantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu, zine ko babivuga ubumuga bw'uruhu, albinos cyangwa se ba nyamweru, usanga ari abantu muri societe bashyirwa ku ruhande kandi naho hari ibyo bashobora gukora byagira uruhare mu iterambere ry'igihugu. Mwe abo mubafata mutese nabo mubarebaho bimeze bite? Ese mubafasha mute kwiyumva ko nabo hari uruhare bashobora kugira mu iterambere ry'igihugu muri rusange?
Ego, nkuko nabivuze, umuryango w'abagide wakira abana b'abakobwa ndetse n'abadamu. Ni ukuvuga iyo rero turimo turakora recruitment y'abanyamuryango, ni ukuvuga tureba ku bantu bose, yaba abafite ubumuga n'abadafite ubumuga, abantu bose muri rusange. Uyu munsi mu banyamuryango b'umuryango w'abagide harimo nyine nabo bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu. Kimwe mu bintu twebwe umuryango w'abagide wemera ko atari njyewe ugomba njyewe ntanga mvuga ibyo mfite kuvuga nkakora ibyo mfite gukora, ariko mu by'ukuri uriya muntu ufite ubumuga niwe uzi neza ibibazo ahura nabyo, niwe uzi neza icyo yifuza ko twakora kugira ngo yumve yisanze mu bandi. Rero bimwe mu byo dukora ni uko dutanga platform aho ngaho mu mayinite baba barimo mu bigo by'amashuri bigamo cyangwa se muri community aho batuye, hanyuma abana akaba ari bo bivugira ngo twebwe turumva twakora ibikorwa bimeze gutya, turumva dukeneye wenda gutegura ikiganiro mu nteko, akagenda ikiganiro niba yagiteguye tumuhereza iyo platform, akaba ari nawe ukiyobora kuko niwe wagiteguye, ni nawe uzi ibyo akwiriye kubwira abantu. Ubwo niba uyu munsi aje akababwira wenda ku bijyanye n'imihindagurikire y'ikirere, ejo akazagaruka akavuga wenda ku bijyanye n'ihohotera rishingiye ku gitsina, gake gake abantu bo muri community bazagenda babona ko ibyo kuba afite ubumuga bwo ku ruhu ntago bihindura ko atekereza neza, ntago bihindura ko ashobora kugira umusanzu atanga muri sosiyete mu kubaka umuryango mugari muri rusange.
Fiela, people with the albinos, let's say the albinos here in Africa, especially sub-Saharan African countries, they are so much stigmatized, so much marginalized. It also some historic the history background of the traditional thing related to. You find that a parent, families with children with disabilities, especially girls, that they don't even want them to come to the sitting room. They don't even want them to go to gatherings. How does the tradition in your country affect them? Are people now learning? Have you made some advocacy to make the Malawian population understand that these people too are human beings? They are, they need to be included. They should participate in in all activities of the nation. How is it challenging to Malawi?
Right. Thank you. On that, for the previous years, it was a little bit hard for the people to understand that people living with albinism are the same people like us. They can participate in everything. So through advocating with government and in partnership with other organizations, people now are able to understand slowly. In terms of like when you go in primary school, even secondary, even university, you'd find like some people with albinism are there, which is which shows that there is improvement. Comparing in the past where even the parents once noticed that my child is albinism would be hiding from the society for her not to participate for the sake like people will love me, etc. But now I can assure you that we also have some people with albinism in the government sectors, which shows there's a great improvement on that.
I'm sure it is a different scenario, a different case when you're doing the advocacy in rural areas and urban areas. How the challenge must be different because people from rural areas, they have some mindset which is a little bit different when it comes to understanding of such of advocacy that you are making. Which challenges do you meet when you're going to advocate for Yes Girl campaign in Malawi compared to the way you do it in urban areas?
All right, thank you. We all know that mostly in rural areas, even the literacy is very low. Most people are not educated, they didn't go far with school. So it's a little bit hard for them to understand more like what does it take someone to be albino. For them, you might still find difficult to understand, to really understand, like the person with albinism is the same person like them, is the person like me. So I can say that by time, slowly they get to know. Like now, I've seen most that they have noticed that, being albino is not something that maybe we are different. It's only just the color, but they are also capable of doing things. They can do great things in class, or they can even do good in the society. So it's a little bit difficult for them to understand, comparing to the people in rural areas, comparing that mostly they have gone to schools, mostly they're able to know what is going on around the world. So I can say it's difficult, but through consistency, they're getting able slowly to understand that. Yeah.
The same question will go to Zena. Uburyo abantu imyumvire y'abantu kuri ku bantu babana n'uruhu ndahamya ko ishobora kuba itandukanye. Uko abantu babyumva mu byaro n'uko babyumva mu mujyi biratandukanye. Iyo mugiye mu cyaro kwigisha abantu ko badakwiye guheza abafite ubumuga bw'uruhu, muhura n'izihe mbogamizi? Ese umuryango w'abagide mu Rwanda iyo muhuye n'izo mbogamizi mugerageza gufasha gute mu gukemura izo mbogamizi?
Ikintu gitangaje nuko abantu bose ntago babyumva, ahubwo wenda
turavuga ku mwana w'umukobwa. We are talking about girl. Yes.
Abantu bose ntago babyumva, ahubwo wenda abantu bo mu bice by'ibyaro n'abantu bavuga uko babitekereza, batajya kunyura hirya no hino. Ariyo mpamvu akenshi tubona ko ari bo batabyumva cyane, ariko niyo ugiye kuganira no gukora ubukangurambaga no mu bice by'umujyi usanga nabo batabyumva neza. Gusa nkuko nabikubwiye, dukorera mu turere twose. Kimwe mu bidufasha kubasha gutambutsa ubutumwa bwacu neza nuko dukoresha abantu batuye aho ngaho twagiye. Ugasanga nukuvuga niba tuje aho ntuye, ngewe nzi neza uburyo abantu duturanye bumva ibintu, nzi neza n'icyo bakeneye kugira ngo wenda imyumvire ibashe guhinduka, kuruta kuba bazana undi muntu uturutse wenda ku cyicaro akaza kubigisha. Rero abagide nibo bahantu twagiye, twebwe tugenda tugiye kubatera ingabo mu bitugu, ariko ahanini nibo bakora ubwo bukangurambaga kuko aribo bumva neza ibyo aho batuye, ibikenewe aho batuye, hanyuma bikaza koroshya gutambutsa message.
This is a very important point she's actually talked about. She said whereby they face the same challenges in rural areas. The mindset of the people to understand about albinism is still an issue. But what they do is actually give the trust to the guys in particular areas, because they live with these people, they understand them. It is actually easy for them to understand them rather than bringing someone from Kigali, from another urban area to teach them. I will go to Marima. Marima, discussing about albinism, especially, particularly about girls, because you're talking about, yes, girls can. Do you, when you're going to do when you're doing the advocacy in rural areas and urban areas, what challenges do you meet in rural areas, and how do you overcome them?
Okay, as was also mentioned by Fiela here, that there is that gap of literacy, so you get to find that people become a bit restrained to give you any information when you want to address some of the challenges that you may have heard of or come across. But what I can say sometimes stands out is the issues that are centered around gender-based violence. As we might all know that when it comes to receiving opportunities, the girl child, especially when it comes to education, the girl child sometimes is often seen as as of less importance. So they don't have the opportunities to go to school. Now, think of it when someone who's suffering from albinism, the challenges are higher. The odds are even higher for them. So it's challenges like that. But as we understand that every girl has a right to education, every human being has a right to education. What then is the difference when it's someone suffering with someone experiencing albinism? So when you see issues like that of lack of access to enough and quality education, and stigmatization is also an issue here. But as we then come up with the challenges and get a hold of all of them after the research, we can then draft a way forward to find a way that suits particularly to the challenges that these young girls face.
Zena, muri iki gihe cy'icyumweru mugiye gutangira iyi campaign, n'iki by'umwihariko mugiye kwibandaho?
Ikintu turi kwibandaho muri iki gihe ni ukubwira ababyeyi, kubwira abarimu, kubwira abantu bo mu nzego z'ibanze ko hakenewe imbaraga zabo cyane. Gushyiraho ubudaheza, government yamaze kubishyiraho, nibyo twese turabizi ko abantu bose bafite uburenganzira bungana, ariko mu guhindura imyumvire y'abantu, imbaraga zabo bantu bose zirakenewe. Hanyuma noneho hakaza kuri twebwe abana b'abakobwa, kubera yuko ibingibi iyo dufite imbogamizi nyinshi duhura nazo, none iyo hajeho no kuba ufite ubumuga, noneho birushaho kuba binini birushijeho. Ni ukuvuga turimo turibanda mu kubwira abana b'abakobwa ngo ni twebwe dukwiriye kugira uruhare kugira ngo abantu bumve ko yego turashoboye, ibi nibyo dushoboye, ariko nanone ibi ni nabyo dukeneye ko bihinduka. Byahinduka gute? Nibyo turi kwibandaho muri iki gihe, tureka muri buri karere bakaba aribo babasha kwivugira ibibazo byabo bafite ndetse n'ibyo bifuza ko byakosorwa.
Certainly, Giza, you're here in Rwanda to share the experience, particularly in this girls campaign, Yes Girls Can campaign. What are you bringing to these girls here in Rwanda to show them that they're capable, given the experience you have in Malawi? What are you going to focus on in this campaign to, to advocate for the girls campaign, to make them understand, to make the community understand, the Rwandans understand that the girls also have the ability to work in government, they have the ability to hold various roles in government leadership. What are you going to focus on? What experience are you bringing to Rwandans?
All right, thank you. Through this campaign, we have different activities that we'll be conducting. Like for the previous last week, was it this week? Yeah, on Sunday we had we visited the Kudaheza, Kudaheza there for persons with disability, where we went there to tell them how they can do good in classes. Like they should not see themselves like they're different. They're capable of doing that. And also we are advocating for them, to their fellow students that they stay with, that whenever they look at them, they should see like they're all the same. They can do the best, they can make it. So, yeah.
The same to Marima. What are you bringing as experience from Zimbabwe? You're going to share with the girls in Rwanda, particularly girls, because you're discussing about how the ability of girls to, they can be leaders, they can be, professionals in various professions, workplaces. They can do something, contribute to the development of the country. I'm sure and I'm very certain that you have some experience back home in Zimbabwe, particularly you want to share with the girls here in Rwanda. Yes.
Yes, if maybe I can start by pointing out that when we went to Kudaheza school, there was one particular young lady who is deaf. So I recognized talent in her when she started taking pictures. And then she was coming to show me the pictures that she was taking, because at that moment I was taking the pictures. So she opted to help.
Yeah.
You could see that the talent that's in this young girl is unmatched. So it's when you identify opportunities like that, that you see that these opportunities must be nurtured and this talent must be nurtured. So during this entire week, we're also going to be calling out to action to decision makers and community members to identify the talent that lies within these young girls and young women, to give them access to such opportunities to make them stand out, because sometimes it so happens that you may not know that you actually have a talent, and it takes someone to identify that talent for you. But then when you then get to start doing the work, you see that it's impactful work. And I believe that even through photography and through media, it's a very powerful tool in shaping narrative. That young girl, given the opportunity, I believe she's able to even advocate in line with inclusion of people, persons living with disability. It can be an essential skill and an essential tool that is within her. So as we also advocate and call to action for decision makers, it can even be the school heads, it can even be people in community, the community leaders. I feel it's of paramount importance that they try to make sure that there are curriculums that mainstream disability inclusion, and to be able to identify such talents among those young girls.
Gizes, you had a wonderful visit to Gatagara, which is a school with the young boys and girls with disabilities. Actually, she said that she's been very much impressed by a young girl who was, a photographer. You particularly, is there any impression you had in that school?
Yeah, thank you. On that, we should also give flowers to the Kudaheza, I don't know, yeah. So they're doing a great job. I was very interested and surprised to see like almost everyone, the students that I was seeing, they knew how to do sign languages, of which in some countries, like for example in Malawi, it's very difficult to find someone like, especially the primary one, who is able to communicate in sign languages. So it just shows that that the interest of the government sectors and also the churches, they're doing a great job. They're also taking their part in taking part of the inclusion of these persons with disabilities. Because by doing that, I don't feel like those persons with disabilities, they can feel like they're isolated, since their fellow friends, they're able to communicate through sign languages. So it was very nice, and keep it up.
Zena, aba bakobwa yose hari ibyo muganiramo uburyo ibikorwa byabo bikorwa hariya, ese mubona ari iki mushobora kuba mwakwigiraho uburyo bakora gahunda zabo zigafasha mu kumvisha abantu yuko umwana w'umukobwa nawe akeneye kuba yajya mu ishuri, yajya mu bikorwa bitandukanye bigamije iterambere ry'igihugu? Hari icyo muri exchange mumaze kugirana ubona mukwiye kuba mwabigiraho?
murakoze mu by'ukuri ubundi iyo baje mu Rwanda ahanini baba baje kutwigiraho no kureba aho tugeze kugira ngo nabo bazabijyane iwabo gusa ntago nabura kuvuga ko hari ibyo natwe tubigiraho nko kubana n'abantu bafite imico itandukanye yega abanyafrika tuba dufite ibintu byinshi duhuriraho ariko ahanini haba hari bya bindi mwebwe mufata nka kirazira ariko abandi bafata nk'ibintu bisanzwe nk'ikintu Tazvashe yavuzeho ku bantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu ni initiative nziza cyane yaba implemented yashyirwa mu bikorwa mu Rwanda bikaba byaba ari byiza kurushaho kuba hategurwa amarushanwa yo kugaragaza impano ku bantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu ni ikintu cyiza cyane twatahana.
Tazvashe, I will certainly get back to you. Having visited various parts of the country, particularly Gatagara Secondary School, what do you think, given the little experience you've had from Rwanda, that you should take to Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans to learn from Rwanda? What do you think the Zimbabweans need to learn from Rwanda?
It's pretty much engraved under the same wavelength to get to understand and appreciate that every girl matters. For me, the memory that still stands sharp is that young girl who was passionate, who has passion in photography.
Yes.
And if it's a key lesson that I would want to take back, is to ensure that their talent is identified. Not only identified, supported, act on it, empower them to be able to stand out for themselves. Because we cannot really succeed when half of us are held back. It's important that every voice is brought to the table and is heard and is listened to. So if there's one key lesson would be to identify the talents that these people have, and then it's nurtured and it can stand out more.
Gizes, particularly, did you think there's something that Malawians need to learn from Rwanda in terms of what you've seen so far during the tour to Rwanda?
Yeah, on that, as a Malawi, we still have something that, for me, something that I've learned from Rwanda in terms of when it comes to persons with disability, the way you treat them. Through my experience the time I went to Kudaheza, it shows like you give them a space where they feel like they're at home, where they are able to speak out. Because, for example, we had a chance for a certain girl who asked them the question like, what the challenge that they're facing as the girls living with disabilities. They were able to speak out. The way they did that, it shows like being in that place, they also learn different on how to speak out without being included, like the person with disabilities. So that moment of being expressing themselves, I think as a Kudaheza, as the government is doing great thing, which also makes me, when I go back home, I will maybe try to tell that, okay, maybe as private sectors, I think we should do this for them to have some improvement in the person with disability, according to my experience in Rwanda.
Tazvashe, she's actually raised a very good point about empowering women and, you know, where the kids are able to express themselves, to speak out their mind. Don't you think maybe somewhere and somehow the girls with such disabilities may be limited, they may not speak out, and this in the end may hinder the advocacy of empowering them as this campaign goes on, Yes, Girl Can, whereby the leaders or the managers of certain centers may not allow them to speak out their minds, so that they don't get challenged. I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about. The point is, you are the manager of a certain center with people with disabilities. You are going to be visited by government officials to see how you give the platform to the young girls, to see how you provide opportunities to learn various things. But they might be restricted, or they might not speak out their mind simply because it's an instruction from the managers of these centers. Is there any kind of such challenge in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, that's one thing that actually Girl Guiding tries to address. It ensures that there is a safe space for every young girl. Mm-hmm. We do understand that people may be afraid to speak out publicly and raise out their concerns. So we do have ways that young girls can speak out. For example, in April next month, yes, we are carrying out what we call her sanctuary. It prioritizes creating a safe space for young girls and women. So through this, we also offer counseling sessions, and considering that you are guaranteed it's a safe space, you are able to speak out your concerns. In this scenario that you gave of visitors coming to the school and the children being afraid to speak out, there are ways I believe can be put in place. There can be an anonymous box that can be put in place to enable those kids to be able to speak out. If, for instance, if it's someone that has challenges in writing, that's where it's people who have the ability to do so can stand in the gap and be able to note down the situations and the challenges that these children are facing. But that is also the reason why we are there as Girl Guides. We try to address these challenges through creating a safe space for these girls.
Azena, iyo musura abana b'abakobwa bafite ibibazo nk'ibyo mu miryango itandukanye, haba mu byaro cyangwa se mu mijyi, ese aba bana babasha gusohora ibibarimo nk'imbogamizi barimo? Kuko uko imbogamizi zabo zijya hagaragara, niko namwe mushobora kugira uruhare mu kubafasha kubikemura. Ese mubona bisanzura mu kugaragaza imbogamizi zabo?
Yego, ariko byose biterwa n'uburyo mwateguye inyigisho zanyu n'uburyo ikiganiro muri kukiyobora. Nk'ubu ngubu wenda iyo turi kugerageza kuvuga ku bibazo abana b'abakobwa bahura nabyo, ahanini ntago tugenda ngo tugiye kuganira ku bibazo, ahubwo dutegura inyigisho y'uburyo bwo gukora ubuvugizi. Hanyuma muri icyo gihe iyo turi gutanga inyigisho, ubwo uri kwigisha umwana w'umukobwa uburyo bwo gukora ubuvugizi, ugenda wateguye nk'ikibazo kimwe wenda cyo gutanga, dukoresha uburyo bwo gutanga ubuhamya. Njyewe nka Zena nkaba navuga nk'imbogamizi nahuye nazo, uburyo nabashije kubicamo ndetse n'abamfashije. Hanyuma noneho tukaza no gutanga umwanya mu matsinda matoya ku buryo abana batangira babikora nk'aho ari umwitozo. Urumva iyo muri kubikora mu itsinda byitwa umwitozo, mubikora mukurikije ingero bagiye babahereza, noneho bikaza kurangira muje gutanga ingero z'ibintu bisanzwe bibaho buri munsi. Ariko nabwo ntabwo twirengagiza ko hari igihe bishobora kugorana ko umuntu avuga ikibazo mu by'ukuri afite. Ni muri urwo rwego rero buri gihe iyo tugiye gutangiza inyigisho zacu tugira igikarito dutegura, hanyuma tugatanga n'udustick notes kuri buri mwana mu gihe dutangiye kwiga. Tukavuga ngo nugira ikibazo ariko ukaba wumva icyo kibazo udashobora kukibaza, gutera agatoki ngo kibaze, uracyandika kuri ako gapapuro twaguhaye, hanyuma uze kugishira muri icya gikarito. iyo dusoje rero dufata cya gikarito tukarebera hamwe ibyo bagiye bashiramo, nta mazina ajyaho, nta bintu, ni ukuvuga nta shuri wigamo, ntaki. Hanyuma iyo dusoje dutanga n'amanimero de telefone kugira ngo wenda hagize ukenera gukomeza kukuvugisha ku byo wabigishije nawe abe yakuvugisha.
Gizex, how much freedom do girls with disabilities back in Malawi have? The reason I'm asking this is that there are certain things, according to African culture, you know, sometimes the cultures differ a little bit. There are certain things which a girl may not speak out, maybe because she feels ashamed, she feels maybe the family is going to be, you know, stigmatized, and herself in particular. How much freedom do they have to speak out their mind so that you also play a role in addressing those challenges?
All right, thank you. On that, in Malawi, they're given freedom like everyone, where we encourage them, where if they face any challenge or if they are experiencing any violence, they should speak out. Because there are some issues that where people take advantage for person with a disability. For example, like especially girls with disabilities, they might be raped or being defiled, such kind of violences.
Yeah.
So there are some girls where maybe just looking at their situation be like, since I'm disability, who else can hear me out about this? Instead, they just chose to keep them quiet.
Yeah.
So for us as girl guides, we are here to advocate and to speak out for those girls that whenever they found any violence, whenever they experience that kind of that their rights is not being practiced, they should speak out, they should come up. That's why, as Vashi said, that we conduct her sanctuary, which is in April, where we create space, which we call brave space, for such situations, for them to come out, to speak out without being judged. Yes.
Nshuti bari badukurikiye muri iki kiganiro hirya no hino kibandaga ahanini kudaheza umwana w'umukobwa ufite ubumuga. Aha niho dusoreje ikiganiro cyacu. Abatumirwa nababwiye ni Zena Ziyadairagena, uyu akaba ari umukorerabushake w'umuryango w'abagide hano mu Rwanda. Wakoze cyane Zena. Ladies and gentlemen, we coming to the end of this show, HIRYA No HINO. It's a show actually which is in Kenya, Rwanda, but today was a special show as we have two guests from Malawi and from Zimbabwe respectively. We've been discussing about how the campaign which is starting here in Rwanda, the Yes Girl Can, to empower young girls with disability. We are coming to the end of the show, and I'm very much glad to host you, Fiela Gizes from Malawi. Thank you very much. The participant and volunteer from Malawi Guides Association. Thank you very much. I also I see the opportunity also to thank you, Tazvash. Thank you for allowing and accepting our invitation. Hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gakuba Felix Abdul-Jabbar. It's a pleasure to host this show. Allow me to take this opportunity again to give credit to the camera operator. This is Nicholas, and another one is Emmanuel, aka Papa Sangwa, the director of the show. Thank you. Stay tuned.